The following program has been rated GE by the Kenya Film Classification Board. It is therefore suitable for general family viewing.
Hello viewer, welcome to Chugu Jamii. This is GBS TV, the station that you love, the station you have been waiting to watch. Today I have guests in studio. We are going to be taking up a very, very interesting topic. I know you really want to listen to this. We will be talking about the marriage mediator. I have a question this morning. When people in the olden days got married, divorce was such a rare thing. And when there were such misunderstandings, and the elders of the village sat together and mediated, and life continued. But today in our society, we are so quick to get into marriage and also so quick to get out. I have people in the studio today, as you can see, and they're going to be telling us more about where did the mediator go, who attended his burial ceremony. Let's hear more. First, I would like to introduce them. I am your host. My name is Chugu. Welcome. I will start to the lady.
Thank you. My name is Tigist. I'm a psychosocial advisor. I'm glad to be here.
Welcome, Tigist.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Emmanuel Gashanja. I am a CEO and founder of I Vow, Because Marriage Rocks. It's an organization that speaks into marriages, and I'm honored to be here.
Wow, welcome.
Good morning, viewers. I am Simon. I'm very happy to be in GBS, also to talk about my life.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome, gentlemen and lady. Glad to have you in the studio today. I hope that someone is going to get a lot of lessons and change their lives today, if life changes. So, the marriage mediator. Tigist, I want to start with you. What do you think happened? In the olden days, people got married and stuck, and the only thing that did them part was death, as they vowed. Emmanuel is talking about an organization, I Vow, to mean I live it until death. I vow to be here in sickness, in health, in good times and in worst times. What happens that we only want the good side and the worst ones we do not want?
Yeah, like when we are seeing these days marriage, especially in the cities, it's a little bit different from the old days. And it might be a little bit different from the countryside, where a lot of mediation, negotiation happens. We want things to happen quick, and we want to resolve everything quick. We might not have tolerance for each other. But those things should be something that we should be able to learn again as a generation, the new generation. And it has to be, it has to be learned and improved.
So you think that at some point we stopped learning?
That's what I'm...
Okay. Emmanuel, what are your thoughts?
Well, just to piggyback on what she has just said, I think it's more than just stopped learning, but we also stopped teaching.
Okay.
The culture that we grew up in, let me say our parents were younger, was a culture where we were impacted and taught the values and the systems. That is missing from today's culture. Today's culture, we are being raised by our house helps, our nannies, and they are not imparting the culture. And also because the culture has changed in terms of the family structure. You find that many people are growing up in a home where the dad and mom are not necessarily there. The values of society are changing. We are adopting so much more of a Western culture. And in adopting this Western culture, it has so many permissiveness, and the boundaries have gone so down so that, we have options, especially when it comes to marriage, where we shouldn't have, because this is a covenant that you make. So as long as you're in it to stay. So during the good and the bad, during the sickness, during the health, in riches and in poverty, this is the covenant and the vow that you are making to your spouse.
Simon, when people are getting into marriage, no one is signing in to quit the next day. Unfortunately, this is what is happening, and people are faced with difficult problems they're not able to solve on their own. Do you think that this is for lack of a mediator?
One, I want to disagree with you that it's something that is happening in our age, in our times, because if you read from the Bible says even Moses, he gave permission. You can divorce through a letter. So it means that even during Moses, the times of Moses, people were divorcing. So even in the times of Jesus, people were divorcing. Until now, people are divorcing, but the divorce rate is very high now, more than during the time that we are being brought up. So I think it's something that has been happening.
But the rate has increased right now.
But the rate has increased.
Okay.
It's not that it changed anything.
Okay.
Sure, it has been happening. One thing, there is no teachers, even to teach about marriage. And those who are teaching, what they are teaching and what they are practicing, it's different.
Okay.
Because we have teachers to teach about marriage, but they are not sticking into their marriage. They are teachers, but they have second wives. So how can you learn from them?
I get it. Look at a scenario where people are in marriage. Do you think they're in this marriage sticking together because they do not have problems and challenges?
No. I believe because, you have a different background, different, even gender-wise, the interest of a man and a woman is different. So the difference is there. Since the difference is there, there is definitely disagreement and conflicts.
But people still stick, despite all
that.
These things.
Yeah.
So is it that marriage was never supposed to be the place where you get all the happiness of your life and to enjoy the love that you ever wanted? Why has marriage become so painful that people have to disagree and fight? Is this natural? Is this the way it should go? Is it okay?
Well, I think like she said, because you come from different backgrounds, then, there will always be conflict.
Yes.
All right?
Which happens even to siblings that are brought up from the same mother.
Yes, it's
they
because
still
you're
have
bringing
conflicts.
two different personalities together.
Yes.
So those personalities are clashing and fighting against each other.
So this is a natural thing.
It's a natural thing. However, I don't believe that this is the way it should be.
Okay.
I don't think this is the way it should be. When you look, first of all, most people who are getting married now do not understand what it is that they're getting into. They do not understand the institution. We do not take time to learn about what this institution is about. Now, the institution has its founder, and the founder has the constitution based on the Bible. Now, a lot of us don't know. I got married when I was very young. I was about, 25 years old when I got married.
Yeah.
So in that season, when I got married, all I knew is that I loved this woman. All I knew is that she's so beautiful. All I knew is that I just want to
have her.
Yeah, and be with her and, have those loving, until she came in and I'm like, hiya, what do I do with this woman? And I'm trying to figure out, where do I go from here? What do I do? She's asking for this. She's demanding for this. And I'm just like, I'm conflicted. And then I have my own needs that I feel I need to be met. And she's struggling to meet them. So for me, it was that whole process of trying to figure that out. And it was a struggle. Until now, we took time to understand, we took time and said, we're going to do a marriage course, and we're going to learn what this is about.
Wow, so you didn't learn this prior to marriage?
No, all I knew is that I remember my father and my mother. I remember the roles my dad had. I remember the roles my mother had. I remember, that we were a family and this is what we used to do. So no one ever told me to be a husband, son, this is what you do, this is what's expected of you. Because again, our parents have grown up in an era where they're going to work. So they're not spending as much time with us, as opposed to now for them, They were raised, you know, they had their clan. And this clan had the process that they went through. And in that process that they went through, at this stage, you're becoming a man. This is what is expected of you. This is what you do. This is where you go. This is what men do. Now, for
But no
us-
one teaches you to be, you know, like a husband. This is how you take care of a wife. This is, you know,
No.
what you have to follow. This is the procedure. This is how to tackle a challenge when it comes. Because the truth is, in marriage, there are challenges and deep ones, if I may call them. But the problem also that marriage faces is there are no teachers, as you mentioned.
Yes.
Also, the reason the mediator is needed, if you allow me also, would be to ensure that though the marriage has challenges, it's still able to flow, it's still able to continue, because the windows of divorce are kind of closed when you say I do, when you vow, you know, you're kind of closing the windows of divorce. So when you have challenges, then you look for the marriage mediator. How come nowadays people have the same challenges, but they opt to quit? Where is the mediator?
The mediator still exists.
The mediator still exists.
The mediator
I need to
still
hear
exists.
where this mediator is.
However, here is my I guess, observation. The mediator has changed and has stopped being the parent and has stopped being the church.
Okay.
So the mediator is the TV. The mediator is our friends who are just as ignorant as we are about this. Our mediator has not a greater understanding of this institution. So they are not giving you the right, because every couple that comes to me, they have talked to their friends, and after talking to their friends have told them, no, this one is nanny, leave it, go.
It doesn't work
we
like
can't-
that.
We don't, it doesn't work.
Yes.
You should just get, you know,
If you've told
so
him
and
4
so will
times,
make
it's
you
not
happy.
changing.
Yeah, exactly. So the mediator still exists, but the
But-
mediator does not have the right knowledge, and we need to get, and the church needs to rise up. I'm glad that you brought, you know, Deacon Simon here, and you know, the church needs to rise up, knowing what the values are, and speak the language of the people, so that the people can relate, you know, with the church, so that we can be able to impart this wisdom, this godly wisdom, and godly, I guess, values of what marriage and relationship means.
Okay, remember that marriage is not only for Christians, but also for non-Christians. Deacon Simon, I wish to hear from you. Has your marriage been a bed of roses? I'm asking this in respect that you are actually probably representing some married men who are facing challenges or who have had issues in their marriages. Maybe you will tell us how your marriage has been. Has it been a bed of roses? Have you been able to solve it? And not specifically yours, but as you speak with your friends, what have you been able to hear about marriage?
Actually, in my life of marriage, right now I'm in marriage for 16 years.
Congratulations.
And I don't think that in marriages there is only happiness only.
Okay.
There is conflict. In every house there is conflict. But there is the initiator of the marriages is God. So the initiator who is God, he knows better how to handle marriages more than men. And this initiator, he initiated the church and also the servants of God. If you can meet a true servant of God, a servant who is able and who has the wisdom of God, he can guide you well in marriage more than anybody else. There has been ups and downs in my marriage, but God has kept my marriage until now. We had separated, but we came together again, courtesy of the church. Not because
So
of
when you realize that, what made you to separate? You know, it was the ups and downs that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Those are the things that made you separate.
Yeah.
When you realize that you guys are struggling with the ups and downs, why did you let it go to the extent of separation? Why didn't you run to get a mediator? Did you think that there was no mediator? Did you think it was not necessary? Did you think you would not get the right person?
I didn't think about that.
Okay.
I married in the church, and one thing that it's a root cause of separation in the marriages. It's when one, either a wife or a husband, does not have a mentor.
Okay.
If you have a mentor, it's very easy for you to solve your problems when you have problems. The root cause of separation is one thing. Before you separate, you stop talking. You stop communication in the house. When you stop communicating, everyone enters, each one of you enters into his own world and start thinking negative things about the other person.
So there's a lot of distrust that comes in.
Yeah.
Dig is talking about a mentor. He's bringing in the issue of a mentor. Do you need a mentor as you grow in marriage?
Yes, like as we started discussing, you know, we were saying like in the old days, it was not like this.
Yes.
These days, it is changing. Yes, because like there are no people who are following the married people when they are confused,
There's no
when
one
there is
following
conflict, when there is, you know, something that surprises the married couples. You know, there should be someone who comes in and says like, it's okay. You know, everybody is
There's
passing
a lot
through
of
this.
surprises.
Yes, but that is a thing that almost all married people are passing through. You know, it's not only for that particular couple that happens, but it happens for almost everyone.
Yes.
So to know that, and to know that people have passed through this and have succeeded, is what would help the couples. So a mentor is someone who can tell them, who can direct them in that way. In the old days, you know, the system would do that. You know, the system would support marriage. The village would do that.
And say, this man is like this. Nowadays, you don't see
Yes,
this happening.
but these days, who is doing that?
So no one is following up the married couples.
Yeah.
People marry you off, like Emmanuel, you marry people off, and then you wait for them to come. Oh, we have this problem, we have this problem. Yeah. Do you really engage and involve yourself to follow them up? You know, because right now also, people are so individuals. They are keeping them to themselves. Yeah. They're so individualistic, and nobody wants to speak about their issues outside there. And everybody has the fear. What will they say about me? I just had my wedding, you know, 3 months ago. How do I go before people and say I already have issues? How do I go and tell my sister or my brother that we are not talking, that things are not well, you know, that nothing is working? So there is that fear of, I mean, you should be fine, you should be well, but people are also not following up. What do you think is missing in this scenario where I have gotten married, it's just 3 months, I have the shame and the fear of going back, because before that, I'm so excited. I mean, I'm getting married, it's so hot, it's so nice. So everyone thinks I am the happiest woman in town, you know? So I cannot come and disclose, you know, to you what's happening to me. On the other hand, when I listen to Tigis, she says there's no one to follow up. So is there anything happening?
Well, I think first of all, you hit the nail on the head by saying that the culture has changed, as Tigist mentioned. The culture has changed. Before we were a community. Me and all my relatives, we knew what was going on, and we had accountability. And I think that's, even as he mentions, and that's the biggest thing that you need. I don't know if it's necessarily a mentor, but accountability is the biggest thing. Who are you talking to that's keeping you accountable to the vows that you held? Who are you talking to that's keeping you to the values and the system that you're supposed to follow in this particular institution? Now, with regard to follow-up, the truth is, in the church, there are too many people to follow up. There are just too many people to follow up. And you're the one person that is following up all these people. Now imagine if I was to do a wedding one wedding every month. So that's what, 12 weddings. That's 12 couples.
Just 1 year.
That's 1 year. So I've
And
been
there are
doing
those for
weddings.
last year.
Yes, I've been doing weddings since 2015. You know, so those are what, 2015 and now is 4 years, 48 couples.
Yes.
So 48 couples, you are following up with them. I think the best thing that the church can do is to create a space where couples who are getting married in a particular season. In Mavuno Church, they have this program called Ndoa.
Yeah.
So in Ndoa, you do it, at least 8 to 10 couples go through the premarital together. So what this does is this forms a Ndoa group or a cell group or a life group that has gone through this experience together, and these people support each other. So now in doing similar things to this, and we always pray that those groups work out. They don't always work out. Some do and become very strong groups, supporting each other through the different seasons. So I like that model. So whereby these guys are already sorting issues and they're inviting you into that space when, you know, they feel like they need maybe an authority figure to speak into this. However, for me, I follow up. In fact, I always say I will not take all marriage requests or all officiating requests. My purpose is, I tell you, if you're going to walk this journey, first of all, after you've done your premarital, we will have many meetings together before the D-Day, and then after that, we will continue also to meet. I need to know how is it that you're progressing. Again, for me, when I got married, my wife and I kept asking ourselves, in that first year, we kept asking ourselves so many questions like, why didn't my mom tell me this? Why didn't my dad tell me this? Why didn't my mom tell me this? Why didn't my dad? I mean, we're just trying to figure this out, you know? And you're with this person, and again, you don't know what you want to do or what you're going to do with them. You have your vision, you have whatever it is, but this person is a different personality just coming into it, and you're just like, now how do I even handle this? Yeah.
I get it. Tigist has brought in something that is really key, and I'm thinking it's such a void space because many people follow you up and walk with you to the point of saying, I do. After this, people are waiting to see how you are doing. Whether you are doing okay or not, it's not their problem. And what I mentioned about fear, how is this fear being dealt with? I need to hear from Wiga. Is it that there was fear in your heart that kept you with your issues, that you let even the marriage go into separation? Because, I mean, what was keeping you not talking about it to the person you think you'd get help? Is it that for you there was no mediator? Is it that you were struggling with your own ego issues, like, how do I go and say, I can't handle this woman? You know, what was really the big thing?
I don't think so. One thing, I believe that it's God who was making me to be who I am today. That's what I believe. Because after that, I have met very many people who are in marriages, and they have challenges. And after talking, very many people are standing, they start laughing, they start living a very happy life. So I believe that it's God who was taking me that route so that I can learn.
And teach others.
And teach others. That's one thing. Also, the other thing that I believe is, without those challenges, there is no way that you can need God. So because of those challenges, you also need God.
You drew closer to God.
You be closer with God.
Yes.
And also,
but now humanistically, as in realistically,
Yeah.
you know, you are having a challenge. And you let it go to the point of separation.
That's
and like
what
I said,
that's what
no one marries to separate.
That's what I want to explain.
Yes.
I was talking this thing daily with my mentor, and because my partner was not ready to talk, I spoke something. I started. Separation comes when one party is not ready to talk.
Okay.
Before separation, what starts What
Silence.
begins, it's silence.
Okay.
Even though you talk, your words falls in a deaf ear. There is no reaction, there is no changes. Second thing, you start sharing your issues with many people that cannot solve.
Yes.
In the book of Proverbs, there is this word that says that talking a word where it's supposed to be talked. Where you are supposed to say it, it's good. It's like an ornament of gold hanged on a wall.
That's very important, and I need to just hold you on over there and come to Tigist. Tigist, you're a psychology advisor. You're supposed to be handling and managing humans. In a scenario where the couple is married together, a mediator is one who is coming in to restore this relationship, you know. This relationship has not yet gone to the extent of divorce. So these people are in the marriage, they are seeing it's kind of crumbling, and they want to get it back together before it completely falls apart, you know. And one party is very interested in having this restoration, but the other party is not talking and is not willing to have it work, you know. And the other thing Mwiga is mentioning is you share your issues with anybody because you don't think it's working. So you try speaking it out. People say a problem shared is half solved, you know. But now you speak it and it's not being solved. You get it? Emmanuel had mentioned that it's not that we do not have marriage mediators. We actually have them, but we are using the wrong ones. We are using the wrong people, you know. What should you say to Simon in this case?
Yeah, as he mentioned, you know, there are lots of issues when you start, you know, when the marriage starts falling. You know, the first thing is like stop the communication, the communication part. And I see that the devil works well in that. You know, he feeds you something which is not true about that person. You start thinking about, you know, negative things about that person when it is not. And the other person also do things the same way. So your anger and your bitterness grows up, and it begins to, you know, pile up.
Yes.
So I would say like the mediator can come in this at this point. I have mediated a number of cases while I was back in Ethiopia in the court system. There is no couple who doesn't want to solve the problem that they have.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought some have already made up their mind.
Even if they made up their mind, you know, they still want that peaceful marriage that they have. So they keep on saying like, you know, what have I done wrong? What is wrong? You know, what's going on? So people, as they were mentioning, you know, they share it to their friends where things get worse.
When things get worse, that's when they talk about it.
Yeah, and
but
the
do
friend,
they even get help from the friends?
The friend would advise them against, you know, against the right way. So they would go to the separate way. But the mediator would come and would understand.
How would the mediator come in when one party is opposed to this? When one person is not talking? Yeah,
like, you know, there are skills that the Lord has given us.
Okay.
You know, there are skills that we need to use. Instead of saying like, oh, you have been hurted, oh, this man is not good, oh, you know, instead of those kind of things, a mediator would speak to both. You know, he would speak to the woman and he would speak to the man separately.
Okay.
And I find it completely surprising.
Yes.
To discuss with the woman and to discuss with the man and find it like, you know, what the woman is thinking about her husband and what the man is thinking about his wife is sometimes completely different. And it is good to understand both, you know, without not being judgmental, and understanding them first. And when we understand,
that brings me to how the best way you're supposed to do mediation.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you bring in a mediator and you separate these people more, you know. But you were saying that you need to do it separately. You get the woman and talk to her, and get the man and talk to him separately.
Separately. And you would understand the, the cause, the root cause of the problem.
Okay.
When you identify the root cause of the problem, then you start working towards achieving the solving the problem that has been created.
Okay. People are very generous to themselves. And so if I am not in agreement with my husband, then I go to a mediator. I will not tell her the bad things that I have done. So I will be saying, he has done, he did, he has been doing, he did, he has done. That's what I will be reporting to you. When they come to you, Emmanuel, at I Vow, how do you get to tell them straight on their eye without judging them and hurting them and chasing them away that you are wrong and you need to do this and this to solve this problem?
Very good question. First of all, maybe just to clarify something. When we are struggling in marriage, it's just a natural human thing that, first of all, it's shame for you, and you never want to put yourself in the light of failure.
Exactly.
So that's why a lot of us end up keeping quiet and keeping to ourselves. So we don't say. There's also other factors, like I do not want my wife or people to see my wife in a certain light. However, we are still struggling.
Yes.
So unfortunately, sometimes in that state, we just keep it and then go and face somebody when things are, super difficult. However, now to answer your question, I don't ever ask the husband to come in and the wife. I never do it separately. One of the things I've realized is everyone tells you things from their point of view. I always prefer for them to be in front of me, both of them. And every time we do that, there's a rules of engagement that we sign to. That one, you will address your issues, you will talk, and when he's talking, you keep quiet. When she's talking, you keep quiet. And it's an understanding that we'll have. And then now you begin to present what is it that you feel is the issue. And I think it's important to do that, because then when you're speaking, this one is hearing. And for me, it has worked for me because...
It has worked.
So for me, it has worked because, like, this one will speak, their heart, and always the lady has way more to say. So I ask her, you speak first, then I say, let's listen to what she's saying. And more often than not, I always ask the man, so what are you hearing her say? And then he'll respond and rephrase. And I say, no, don't justify, don't give excuses, don't whatever. Just tell me what it is that you're hearing her say. So he'll say, this is what I'm hearing her say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I said, what does that mean to you? Then he says, this is what it means to me. Then I said, okay, now it's your turn, you speak. Then he speaks and speaks and speaks, and he'll say his side of the story. Then I hear, what are you hearing him say? Then it helps because, one, for me, I know, well, I've studied the Bible, so I understand human nature, I understand our brokenness. I've seen from the Bible what things people have done. I've experienced, in life what people have done. But at the same time, I've gone to school for counseling psychology to understand the human mind, to understand why we are and why we do the things that we do. So there's both those sides. So it's important to be able to highlight to the man, so these are the most important things to the woman. And this is what her cry is, And then to the woman, I tell her, this is the makeup, this is the software that this guy has been built with. And when you come, and when you try to bring an understanding to where they're at, they're more willing to listen, and two, they're more willing to now begin the path of reconciliation.
I need to hear from Simon. You mentioned that for a little while you were separated, and then you were rejoined, and now your marriage is easy and fun. How did your restoration become? Because these two have two different opinions. Emmanuel has mentioned that it has worked for him. I don't know about Tigist, whether doing it separately has also worked as she does her counseling and psychology. what exactly happened for you? Did you have to do it separately? Were you together, facing the mediator or the mentor? How did it work for you? What do you think works?
One thing, I'll go for the way of Emmanuel. Because each and every person loves himself. So if you call me before you, I'll speak the better part of myself. But I cannot tell you how I hurted that woman, what I did to her. I'll just tell you, she has been doing this to me, she has been doing this to me. And if you're not wise, even you will start feeling that you will start having that feeling.
For you.
Yeah, for me.
Yes.
Because I'm just telling you about the bad and evil things that she has been doing, then you start saying, this woman, she's very evil. She's almost a wild animal. And also, when you meet her separately, she'll start telling you many things, negative things about me, without even mentioning anything good I have been doing in her life. So that is nature. That's nature.
Truly,
I can't,
However, sorry. Yeah.
I can't speak anything bad about me.
Yeah.
Even when I do anything bad, it's not bad before me.
Yes.
It's bad before other people, but not before me.
Yes.
Before my eyes, it's good.
Yes, Emmanuel.
However, let's not rubbish what she has said, because I think it's very important. As a psychologist, it's important also to sit, with them separately. First of all, there's the place of them offloading. They'll offload. The beauty about a psychologist is you understand.
You understand.
You understand as they're offloading, what's happening. And I think for you, it's important to now start solving, or not even solving, but asking them questions so that they can begin to process their thoughts. A lot of times in cases where in psychology, if they've come to me as a counseling psychologist and not as pastor, then you have to treat them as that. And then even as they speak and begin to process their thoughts, they also begin to see, okay, this is where, I feel
sometimes
like,
even when he speaks, you begin to realize, oh, even this that was so light was so big, and it really hurt them so badly. Sometimes you actually did something, but you just ignored, and it was so petty, it was so small. But to them, it hit them so hard. When you hear them mention, then you know how deep it went. Today we were actually looking at this marriage mediator, and we were all in agreement that this marriage mediator never had any burial ceremony, meaning they're still alive, they're still here with us. I do not know why our marriages are breaking so rampantly like this, as though we do not have them. But listening to you, gentlemen and lady, I can get that despite them being around, we are either not using them well, we maybe do not know where they are, or they are the ones mediating in the wrong way. And that's why I wanted to hear, how do we do the mediation the right way so that they can openly come to us to do the mediation? Because if you're going to pick my husband and talk to him, you will start feeling sympathy for him. I don't know where you'll end up, I want to hear, how does it really work separately for you so that this mediation is effective?
Yeah, I need to make some kind of clarification about what we discussed. Say, I mentioned that I would talk to the man alone and the woman alone, but not, the mediation will take a long time.
Okay.
A number of sessions. After understanding the man and the woman, then they have to come together and understand. In the situations where I have worked, I was mediating between divorced.
In the courts of law.
Divorced couples.
Yes.
So it was successful in a way. I mean, a number of divorced couples have come back together because of the mediation. So, when they have reached at the court, and then they have already separated, and there is that anger in them, they have to let it out, as he was mentioning. They have to let it out, because you bring them together. I mean, in where Pastor was mentioning, you know, it's not a kind of a peaceful thing, but there is lots of anger. So if the man or the woman sees that person who has taken him through, you know, through those difficult paths, pains, he won't be comfortable.
You can even fight.
Yeah, I have come across people coming to my office and fighting. So it's a really very serious fight. So instead of that, you know, just understanding the person and then going through the process of understanding the cause, the root problem, and then bringing them back together, it works well. But as he said, when it is in the church, before they go to the court and before they go through those painful processes, it would be much easier to hear the person saying, like, you know, you have done this to me and she has done this to me, and then understanding each other. But in the court cases, it's very difficult to do that.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Where are we supposed to get this mediator? Because right now, the rate at which marriages are breaking is just really wanting, you know? Is it that they're not well positioned? Why do people fear to approach them and talk to them about these things? Why do people prefer to just call it quits without making any trial?
First of all, we have to be very cognizant of what the population structure is. In Africa, as a general, 75% of the population is below the age of 35. All right? So there's young people, and then there's old people. So the young people are not relating with the older people. The older people are not with the current times or how things are happening. They don't understand. They don't get it. There's so many trends. They are old school. Now, unfortunately for them, they are not able to even speak the language of the younger people. So therein is a huge disconnect. However, there would be some of the best people to be able to speak into these people. The church too. The church has become so old school. In fact, when he was talking, there was something that I heard him say, and I was just like, you know what? This is what we constantly say as Christians. And he was saying that God allows us to go through these things. If I didn't go through these things, then I wouldn't have. And yes, he does allow. However, is it he allowed you because he didn't speak to you? Because I'm sure every time I look back, God has spoken to me. There's that still small voice that told me, this is the path, walk ye in it. All right? But I chose this path.
You neglected and just followed your own.
Exactly. So even as a church, we need to also be cognizant and stop covering it in spiritualism and Christianese, and understand that, yes, this is a human being, he's broken. What he needs is he needs God, but he needs God from where he's at. Because God says, in fact, Jesus said, I didn't come for you who is righteous, I came for the sick. So understanding that we are already sick. But he's accepting us from where we are at. So if the church begins to understand that and stops embellishing things. You know, I remember, when we go to different spaces, the best thing I like to do is to, tell, it's very convenient for me to say, it is well.
Yes.
It is well.
True.
The truth is it well when you're going through that thing?
People say
and
that
is that
a lot.
what you want to hear?
People say that a lot. It is well. It is well.
Yeah. Or all
I'm
things
really
work
suffering.
out.
It is
All
well.
things work out for the good of them that love the Lord.
You're saying it's
the
smiling
truth.
and it's not you.
Hold on, it's the truth. However, for the person going through that,
It's not.
they're just like, you don't understand, you're not speaking to me. All right? So you need to be able to have that language that speaks to the people so that they know, you're connecting with me. You're understanding where I am. But through that connection, through that understanding, they now bring, the word and say, you know what, this is what the word says. And it's in doing this
I get it.
that
I
you
get
would
it.
have.
Thing is, how come tell me first.
Yeah.
Respond.
When he was discussing, something came to my mind. In the church, we always say, like, it's okay, it's well.
Yeah.
Or we try to pray.
Yeah.
Yes.
When I was back in Ethiopia, I organized a training for para-counselors in the church. Different people who are serving in the church. I facilitated, I think, a 5-day a workshop on how to counsel. So some of the things, some of the causes of some problems will not be addressed by praying, but maybe by counseling. So at the end of the training, those people came and said like, oh, you know, I have been praying for so and so for you know, a couple of months, but nothing happened. And after I took the counseling course, you know, I tried to talk to them and the problem was solved. So what I'm saying is like the church, you know, he was mentioning that it's very difficult for the church to address all people.
And the church is supposed to be a mediator.
Yeah, but it would be good to train those people who have been separated. You know, the previous generation, they are there. They might be willing to, you know, help and address a marriage problem, be a mediator. Can we not give, you know, para-counseling courses? They have the knowledge from their, you know, life. They have gone through different processes and they have learned a lot from life. Also, if you give them some techniques and some skills, you know, they can be the right people to help. And, you know, the satisfaction that you get from mediating.
Yes. By the way,
great.
since marriage will always have issues because you have been brought up separately, you have different personalities, you have come from different backgrounds. When is the right time to get a mediator in your life as a married couple? Do you think it is a necessity to get a mediator? Where, at what point? Do you wait until you have issues and start looking for a mediator?
See, this is the unfortunate thing that we do.
Okay.
We are always reactive instead of proactive. You know, I was in Proverbs, what's his name? Solomon talks about 24:3 to 4. He talks about how you are successful in life. It's through knowledge, understanding, and through wisdom. If you, first of all, understood what marriage is, it helps you. But second of all, if you have people walking with you this journey, then it helps you.
It's much easier.
One, be proactive. You see, like for example, if I said I'm going to Tigist for counseling, and I told Simon, Simon would ask me, hey, so what's wrong with you?
Yes.
What is the issue with you?
Yes, yes.
No,
that's how we
let
react.
me tell you, a counselor helps me even process my own thoughts. Currently, I go for counseling because one, it's good because I get to hear so many crazy things. So it's good for me to offload. But you know what? Talking to that counselor, them asking me a question, it's like almost like a coach. A marriage coach or a life coach asking you the questions that help you begin
Exactly,
process.
it's true what you're saying.
Because theories say that, you know, all the answers are actually within you.
Within you.
Okay.
It's true what he's saying. When you just mention to someone, I'm going to see a psychologist, and they're like, wow, you have issues. Is it your marriage? Is it your children? You know? Yeah, people ask such kind of things. I need to hear from you as you give your last words. How does a mediator look like? Not physically, but who would I comfortably walk to and say, you can be my mediator, I want to talk to you. He said he talks to so many people, so many friends, but I never gave him a solution to his problems. The reason why we are not able to handle it and finally call it quits is not because we never spoke, but we spoke to people who never gave us a solution. How does this mediator look like? That I walk and go to them and say, here are all my issues, please help me. Who should I choose? I want to start with Wika. Briefly, 1 minute or less.
Okay. The mediator is not somebody whom you just go and go to him because you have a problem. It's somebody whom you know, who have known for a while. He has been a friend, and also you have had other issues, and you opened to him, and he could not share your problem with other people, with other persons. He can hide you. He can cover you. He cannot just open things as you speak. So why did I call him a mentor? He has mentored you in many things, not just in that one thing that you have that time.
I get it. Emmanuel, what did you look at in this person? Nice suit?
No.
Beautiful car?
No.
Beautiful wife?
First of all, First of all, I think the mediators have to be a couple.
Okay.
All right, it has to be a couple, a man and a wife.
Yes.
Second of
Not
all,
a man, not a married man elsewhere and a single. It has to be a couple, husband and wife.
husband and wife.
Good.
Second of all, they have to be probably married longer than I have.
Okay.
And then they have to have a functional marriage. And
Okay.
it looks like it's thriving and successful. But third of all, I'd look for somebody who at least understands the Bible, understands the Christian way. Because again, if it's marriage related, marriage was an institution created by God. So I want it from God's perspective, because that's where the manual is.
Good.
And then fourth, it's somebody who both my wife and I will be safe and have allowed them to speak into
your
our life.
Good. Thank you. Tigis.
Yeah. What my brother said,
And mention whether a
Is-
man can have a female mediator. Whether that is okay.
in the case of, like, you know, in their case, I see a more of a coach, and in a situation where, you know, things are not that aggravated. But as I told you, like, I have worked in a court cases,
Yes.
and I have mediated a man and a woman, because it's an office
Yes.
that was in the court, and it has worked.
Okay.
It has worked, because, like, I'm just a person who doesn't relate to both. Both are just not related to me in any way, and they are open and they are safe. You know, they have to feel safe,
Yes.
and they have to be able to, you know, speak whatever they want to speak. So, you know, following all the rules of counseling. So in that case, when it reaches the highest level, then this kind of professional help would help. But before it reaches there, as they mentioned, it would be good to have the couples there. And also, like, I would like to mention, it would be good to have basic knowledge about counseling.
They
know,
need to have basic
yeah, the
knowledge.
couples that are counseling the younger generation needs to have basic things that they should know.
Okay. Thank you so much, Tigist, and thank you, gentlemen, also for coming to share such kind of wisdom with our viewer today. Thank you, viewer, for watching. This has really been a good time of learning. I hope that you were able to see that we still have the mediators. They didn't go too far. Please choose wisely who is your mediator. You also got the tips on who they can actually be. And also, thank you for tuning in. You were able to check for this episode later on our YouTube channel and also our Facebook channel. My name is Betty Akuku. I have been your host. See you soon.